Today, I'll be building the ultimate portable 1440p gaming machine using Nvidia's brand new RTX 4070 Ti, which is currently the best sub 1000 GPU available right now. Not just because of its raw performance, but I'm also able to immerse myself in AAA titles with ray tracing and boost my in-game FPS with DLSS 3.0. The total cost of the entire PC is around $2,000, and it features the Ryzen 5 7600 from AMD, which is a 6-core, 12-thread processor with an extremely low TDP of 65 watts, which is perfect for this small form factor build. I'm able to go with an extremely low profile cooler like the Noctua L9A. The board I'm going with is the ROG Strix B650E. It's got 2 stacked M.2 SSD slots, beefy VRMs, and a good selection of connectivity with built-in Wi-Fi. In terms of memory, we are tossing in a 32GB Kingston Fury Beast Kit running at 5600 MHz. I much rather go with better performing fans for a more silent and cooler build as opposed to going with RGB fans. So I'm throwing in 4 NF812s from Noctua. We're doing 2 for intake and 2 on top for exhaust. Since we're focusing on high FPS gaming in 1440p with ray tracing and DLSS 3.0, the Nvidia GeForce RTX 4070 Ti makes the most sense. Plus, we're able to fit this card comfortably inside the case. Surprisingly, we don't need that much power to run the system, so that is why we are going with the Corsair SF750 small form factor power supply. But we're also going to be throwing in some cable extensions I picked up from Amazon just to clean it up a bit. The build is complete, so let's go and power it on and see what this baby can do. So starting off, let's take a look at Portal, which is one of my all-time favorite games in existence. So this is what the original Portal game looks like. Not so bad, right? I mean, the graphics look good and it's certainly playable. And this is what it looks like with ray tracing enabled. And oh my God, it's not even the same game. It looks completely different. Look at the way the light travels with the orb bouncing up and down. This is thanks to Nvidia RTX Direct Illumination, or RTX DI for short. This allows for countless direct light sources, regardless of their size, to cast path-traced light and shadows. Basically, this means light and shadows will accurately be traced from its origin to its destination. That's kind of what we're seeing here with the orb. You can also see the reflection of the orb against the walls as it's going up and down. This didn't even exist in the original game. Here's another great demonstration of how ray tracing transforms Portal. The shadows are extremely detailed and they behave accurately in correlation to the light. As the orb is bouncing back and forth, you can see how the shadows of the surrounding space adjust in real time depending on the position of the light. This is thanks to Raster GI. This basically enhances indirect light and enables it to bathe a scene and illuminate dark corners that are not directly lit. That's why you're seeing the shadows near the corners constantly change. I mean, look at the way the water refracts the light as it's moving over it. Every single type of surface affects how the light behaves. It's honestly game-changing. You also get a nice performance boost with DLSS 3.0 enabled. I was only getting around 30 FPS with ray tracing enabled, with no DLSS 3.0, which honestly isn't even playable. But enabling DLSS 3.0 with ray tracing in ultra settings, we nearly quadrupled our performance from an average of 30 FPS to 110 FPS, making the gameplay smoother, more responsive, without affecting the quality. This is thanks to AI generating entirely new frames. In addition to path-traced lighting enhancements, Portal with RTX also got a nice visual enhancement as well, which adds another layer of realism to the game. The textures on the ground and the walls got a nice enhancement, along with pretty much every object in the game, like the red buttons, your gun, and even the bullet holes and the blood got a major makeover. It really does feel like you're playing a brand new game, and the best part is you don't take a performance hit when you're playing with ray tracing because of DLSS 3.0. You get to experience the game the way it's intended. Cyberpunk 2077 is also one of the games that you have to play with ray tracing enabled because it's such a beautiful game. You also have to play at least in 1440p to appreciate the beauty and just immerse yourself in the game. Thankfully, you can enjoy ray tracing on here as well without taking a performance hit with DLSS 3.0. With just ray tracing enabled, I was getting between 40 to 50 FPS in ultra settings, which is pretty low. But enabling DLSS3 pushed us all the way up close to 140 FPS, nearly tripling the performance. But it's not all about FPS gains, you guys. Okay, DLSS3 also improves power efficiency in RTX 40 series cards. Look at how much power the graphics card is pulling with native ray tracing enabled in 1440p ultra settings. We're hitting near 90% GPU utilization with a peak of 260 watts of power draw. And it's only bringing in around 45 FPS. With DLSS3, the utilization drops down significantly to the low 60% with peak 200 watts. The GPU isn't working as hard, and it's able to bring nearly triple the performance with cooler temps as a result. With DLSS 3.0 enabled, the AI network pretty much does most of the heavy lifting here, and as a result, we are seeing reduced GPU workload and power draw. Lastly, I do want to check out one more game that just came out, Warhammer 40,000 Darktide. With native ray tracing enabled, no DLSS3, the game was averaging around 40 FPS, even dropping under 30 in some instances. It just wasn't playable. I enabled DLSS 3.0 and that put us well over 100 FPS, more than tripling the performance in most instances, even during gunfights. Nvidia Reflex definitely helped keep the latency of the game down as well, which helped improve my aim. The game also looks so much better with ray tracing on. I mean, just look at how lame everything looks without it. So much detail is lost in the shadows. When turning on ray tracing, it gives the game a breath of fresh air. All of a sudden, we now see details on the ground that wasn't there before. We now got reflections and just more detail everywhere else. The mist on the top is more prominent, the sword has more texture, and even the stuff in the background, like the wall and the bridge, have more details. This is actually one of the games I'm going to continue playing even after this video because it looks really cool. But yeah, overall, really happy with how the system came out. This is a very solid 1440p gaming machine and a pretty small footprint. If you guys are planning on upgrading your system, you really can't go wrong with the RTX 4070 Ti. I'll drop a link to the card, as well as everything else I used in the build down below if you guys want to check it out. Thank you again to Nvidia for sponsoring today's video. Subscribe for more PC builds coming your way, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next one.